Welcome to Your Mac's Podcast Now. Sun Tzu has been dead for thousands of years, and he is still required reading in military and business courses. People, products, companies, and countries pass, but knowledge is often sustained. Steve Jobs' unique approach to product strategy, and it really is product strategy, could outlast the country, let alone Apple. And I think it should because it is that brilliant. Robert Enderle, Tech News World. Mac worshippers aggressively defend Apple and its newest legion of fans, especially those now with iPads, and they are almost evangelistic in the way they talk about the device, show it off to their friends, and attempt to convert them. This level of loyalty can be traced back to before Apple even released the Mac. But it is the reason more people are buying Apple products simply because Apple creates clean and dependable products? Well, partly yes, but Tim Bajarin has a nagging feeling inside that this only explains half of the reason. He came across a TED.com lecture by Simon Sinek titled How Great Leaders Inspire Action that helped him get a better handle on this question. It explains not only why Apple is successful, but why major leaders like the Wright brothers and Martin Luther King Jr. were so effective as well. Here's an excerpt.
Why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe.
So how does Apple move forward? Obviously, Steve Jobs has been Apple's most recognizable personality, but much of the company's cachet comes from its clean, inviting designs, and for that, Apple can credit its head designer, Jonathan Ive. Ive, a self-effacing 44-year-old Brit, helped Jobs bring Apple back from the brink of financial ruin with the whimsical iMac, whose original models came in bright colors at a time when bland shades dominated the PC world. He later helped transform Apple into a consumer electronics powerhouse and the envy of Silicon Valley with the iPod, the iPhone, and most recently, of course, the iPad. Yet, in the wake of Jobs' resignation as CEO, Apple must show that it can keep churning out head-turning products even without its charismatic leader. And that responsibility falls squarely on the shoulders of Apple's former Chief Operating Officer, Tim Cook. One of the first things Tim Cook did as Apple's new CEO was to reassure the company's employees that nothing was going to change now that his legendary predecessor, Steve Jobs, had resigned from active duty. So what kind of leader will he be for Apple? Well, a few years ago, Fortune profiled Cook, 50, as the most likely successor to Steve Jobs. He's a tireless worker, a brilliant corporate strategist, and a fitness nut. It's thanks mainly to Cook that Apple now has a tightly knit network of suppliers in Asia. One notable anecdote about Cook is that as soon as he was tasked to fix Apple's supply problems, he called a meeting with his top people. He realized in 30 minutes that the company needed someone in China, looked directly at one of the team members and asked, quote, "Why are you still here?" That person, Sabai Khan, left the building and got on the first flight to China with no return date. That get-it-done approach has clearly guided Cook over the last decade as Apple made massive changes, and the company made it look easy. A lot of what Cook has done has allowed Apple to be very aggressive with iPad pricing, for example, leaving its tablet competitors with little room to stand out. Quote, "Tim Cook is the person who really runs Apple," end quote, says an ex-Apple employee who worked at the Cupertino campus and spoke to PC Mag on condition of anonymity. Quote, "He's very organized. Apple is such a seamless operation, and it's all Tim Cook." Even though Cook can't replace Jobs' presence, his words have a lot of clout. When asked about the iPad's competition in the market during an Apple earnings call in April, Cook called Android tablets, quote, vapor, alluding to the fact that no Android 3.0 Honeycomb tablets had appeared in the market at that point, despite a big showing in January at CES. The comment went viral. With a single word, Cook had aptly dismissed a promising rival with the casual superiority of someone who's in charge and knows it. While there's widespread confidence in Cook's ability to lead and execute, some are speculating that without Jobs' passion for product, he may not be able to achieve the same kind of industry capsizing coups Jobs was known for. The future of Apple TV, for example, is highly dependent on deals with content providers, many of which Jobs spearheaded himself. Of course, Jobs has said he'll continue to be involved in big decisions at Apple, and assuming that's not just talk, Cook has time to show the world he can effectively fill Jobs' sneakers or hire someone else to take some of those walks. Ultimately, though, Cook must be prepared to endure the inevitable criticism and comparisons to Jobs when the next Apple screw-up comes. Apple's product strategy for the next couple of years is no doubt in place, and in the short term, Cook's Apple will look very similar to Jobs. Cook was just awarded 1 million shares of restricted Apple stock, worth almost $400 million, all but ensuring he'll stay in his role for the next 10 years. That gives him a lot of time to shape the company, though Cook's mark on Apple is largely already made in its efficiency and market aggressiveness. Now recently, Vanity Fair released its annual New Establishment and Powers That Be list. The New Establishment list shows the top 50 people that are, quote, an innovative new breed of buccaneering visionaries, engineering prodigies, and entrepreneurs who quite often sport hoodies, floppy hair, and backpack, end quote. And the Powers That Be list, quote, are the people who have shaped the world we live in today and continue to wield enormous influence, end quote. And Apple's new CEO and Jonathan Ive ranked 4th this year in the New Establishment list. Seems like a good start. Truth triumphs fiction! Now let us go to the land of sunshine, California. A giant rodent native to South America has been spotted roaming in a city on California's central coast. Workers at a Paso Robles sewage treatment plant captured photos of the capybara swimming in the water storage pond before making its way toward the Salinas River late last month. The California Department of Fish and Game estimates that the capybara weighs about 100 to 120 pounds and may be the same one seen at a ranch about a mile from the treatment plant a few years ago. Known as the world's largest rodent, capybaras have brown hair, short heads, and barrel-shaped bodies. Quote, we had an idea of what it was, but we knew it wasn't anything that was native to around here, said Nick Camp, who works at the treatment plant. Well, let's hope that it doesn't cross the state border into Arizona, because without papers and their strict immigration policy, the sliders at Applebee's might taste a little gamey this year. And that's all she wrote this week in the Magic Apple Kingdom, boys and girls. Hope you had a wonderful week. I would like to thank PCMag.com, IndieStar.com, and TED.com for all the information that I hobbled together for today's show. And in particular, I'd like to thank our guest op editor, me. So until we meet again next week, this has been your host, Sandy Bridge, reminding you to download, double-click, drop out.